I'm here to talk to you about how massage can help your dog, massage therapy can help your dog. A little bit of background, just quickly background about me. I was actually a human massage therapist. At the age of 33, I went back to school, moved back in with my parents and went back to school. Boy, that was fun. For 2 years, which was very great. I was glad that they let me do that because it afforded me, because massage therapy school is unbelievably intense. Anyway, that's a whole other story. So I graduated from that, I set up shop, I worked with a chiropractor for a couple of years, decided I've been accused of being a control freak occasionally, so I'm much better working for myself than somebody else, so I set out and I opened my own clinic right across the street from the chiropractor's office, and I worked there for about 8 years, and I had about 7 other people working for me. It was open 7 days a week, a real going concern. I'd probably done, by the time I call it retired, the reality is I was burnt out. I'd probably done more than 8,000 treatments on people. So I had a pretty good sense of what I was feeling under my fingers, that kind of thing. But I was burnt out, retired those skills, and moved on. Long story short, a couple years later, I had treated a couple of dogs when I was in my human business with a couple people who were, their dogs were attached to their hips, those kinds of people. Anne, for instance, don't go anywhere without their dog. So they would bring their dog in, and as the dog started to age, they would ask me, is there anything you could do? And so I would just sort of do it by instinct without any training. So anyway, a couple of years ago, another friend was having some problems with their dog, asked me if I would, just maybe see what I could figure out with it. So I sat down on the floor with the dog. I worked on the dog for about 20-25 minutes. Didn't know what to expect. At the end of it, I was blown away by how differently this dog was walking. It was unbelievable. So I did a couple more treatments. The dog kept improving. I thought, hey, I think there's something to this. I did get a book on anatomy, dog anatomy, so I made sure I was up to date on that. But really the difference the similarities between dogs and humans, we're mammals, were about 95% the same, 90 to 95% the same. There's a couple of differences, they walk on all fours, we walk on twos, that kind of thing. But all in all, pretty similar. So I learned the dog anatomy. Really the hardest part of learning to do massage therapy is translating what you're feeling under your fingertips. Is that a bone? Is that a muscle? Is that a tendon? Is that a nerve? Is that a healthy tissue? Is that an unhealthy tissue? So transferring those skills after 8,000 massages from humans to dogs, super easy. It's also much more fun for me doing dogs because I don't have to have a table, an office, I don't have to do sheets, there's no laundry, they don't talk back to me. It's really just the manipulation of soft tissue within the body and moving the joints. That's really all it comes down to. So it's not the same as petting. That's often I get from people saying to me, well, I pet my dog all the time. Why would I have you in to do massage on it? Well, petting is very superficial, and there are some superficial moves within massage as well, but really when you're getting to the meat of the matter with massage, it's much deeper. Some of you have seen me work, or your clients of mine, like if you've watched sort of what's happening with my hands, like I'm getting right in there with the spine, I'm getting in there with the hip flexors, I'm moving the joints around. So it's way more really than what petting is. Now petting is awesome. It creates a bond between the person doing the petting. In fact, they found that I think it's blood pressure and heart rate go down for the person who's actually petting an animal. Never mind what happens with the animals. Some of the things massage does physiologically, one of the things it does immediately, as soon as you touch, everybody actually just take your arm, put your hand on your arm for a second, and just for like 10 little rub rubs, just sort of rub a circle. Now take your hand away. Some of you have tans, but you'll probably notice that where you just touched there is a little bit redder than maybe the surrounding skin. That shows you how fast your body responds to being touched. And what that is that's an increase in circulation. The circulation has to be able to reach those cells, and the good stuff that's in the blood has to be able to get into the cells, and then the waste products, the bad stuff, the garbage has to be able to be taken out of the cells, and that's transported away also by circulation. So for a lot of things, for instance, like osteoarthritis, muscle tension, all those kinds of things, a lot of times they're existing because for whatever reason the blood supply has been compromised to that area. So massage very easily and uninvasively can help increase the circulation, and there's all kinds of benefits with that. Another thing massage can do is help to make sure that the joints are properly lubricated. Using, well, humans or dogs, for instance, we stand, our hips and our pelvis are the weight-bearing bones. Karen talked about how good those are for chewing. They're very, very strong bones, but they carry all the weight. So again, everything can get kind of squished up a little bit in there, and again, the circulation, there's like a WD-40 in the joints, it helps to keep it lubricated. All of that can sort of get squished away. So with the soft tissue manipulation, and also with what we call joint manipulation, which can be often it's just as simple as moving the joint around passively. Instead of the dog moving its leg, I move its leg. That really increases the WD-40 of the joints kind of things and feeds the joints. The nerves that go to the digestive system in dogs and in humans all exit the spine coming out at the neck, and then they go down and through here. So oftentimes in whiplash with humans, a little known thing about it, most doctors don't know this, is that digestive issues, so digestive issues can range anywhere from heartburn, trouble digesting, trouble eliminating. I mean, the digestive system literally goes from, you know, here to here, right? Problems can arise, and that's whiplash. So same thing with the dog. Sometimes a dog can be having issues that actually really are whiplash, and you wouldn't know it. You would think, dog hasn't been in a car accident. Why would that happen? But so massage can really help with that. Quality of life plays a huge role, and I think all of us, I mean, you're here because you love your dogs, right? You know, you wait till the end of their life, or they start to get, you know, around 10, smaller dogs around 10, bigger dogs maybe around 7, 8. You start to notice, oh, they're slowing down, or they've developed a little bit of a limp, or there's this or there's that. Much like with us, those things can be prevented or at least really slowed down with massage therapy. So how it works is it's really simple. I show up at your house, I come to you rather than you coming to me, so that the dog's in his own comfort space. I sit down on the floor, the dog I literally just sit. Do you want to see how I do it? I mean, Ash is a client of mine. Come here, my boy. Oh.
And Ash actually has had a neck injury at 3.5 years old. He was an active. He actually was the champion sheepdog.
Yeah, we're not in his house, right? So
and he's nervous.
And he's nervous. You know, we usually don't do this with 20 people watching.
But this
Ash, will you lie down?
Ash got injured at 3.5 years old. He was actually the Ontario sheepdog champion. And I had to pull him from sheepdogging. He was our athlete that hurt his neck. We were up in Georgian Bay and he slipped off the rocks and fell into the lake. So I went through a real journey with the vet and doing various things with them, and found the real turning point for me was when I did get into body talk, acupuncture, and Stacy's our go-to now. People like Stacy that's got him where he is right now. Eating turkey bones.
So something like a joint mobility, and again, this is not a full treatment, but a joint mobility literally can be something as simple as me doing that. Me moving his arm rather than they sometimes me moving his arm rather than him moving the arm means that the muscles aren't contracting, so the joints aren't getting squished up. So as I'm doing this, it literally, like, all the good stuff is flowing in there, washing the joint, washing away the bad things, that kind of thing. What do you think, Ash?
Could you work on my left shoulder? A little
yeah, really.
This morning.
That is your left. That is your left shoulder. That is your left shoulder.
No, okay, it was the right shoulder.
Another thing too, dogs, I mean, again, lots of dogs are like real runners, that kind of thing. They really work up, you know, they get panting. Well, the diaphragm, which is underneath the ribs right here, plays a huge role in, you know, their ability to move around, their ability to intake enough oxygen. So I almost always make sure that I work a little bit on the diaphragm, work a little bit on the hips. You gonna give me a kiss? Oh, thank you, sweetie. I'll show you another move I do. With bigger dogs, Ash, will you stand up for a second, sweetie? Stand up. Stand up. See, he knows the routine. It's usually 40 minutes with him. He's like, wait a minute, this doesn't come to the end. Okay, so I'll get my hands sort of underneath their hips like this. I usually do this standing up. And then again, I'll just sort of work their hips this way, work their hips that way. Now the dog's nervous system, here's the difference between them and us. The dog's nervous system goes from their brain, like ours does, all the way down their spinal cord, but it goes into their tail. We don't have a tail. So it's important to make sure that the tail gets addressed in a treatment too. I've seen other massage therapists work and they don't bother with the tail. I take a very holistic approach. If you tell me the dog's left hip is the reason that I'm there, that will certainly be the focus, but the entire body is going to be touched at some point, because I might find out that there's a whole lot of tension up here. The spine is a chain, right? There's a whole lot of tension up here, and so this might be a symptom. This could be the problem. So one of the things I'll always say to people is, just like Kimberly said, I don't always know the outcome, but what I can tell you is, generally speaking, you should know within about 3 treatments if what I'm doing is having an effect or not. So if it's a soft tissue or a joint problem, within 3 treatments, you should be seeing some improvement in your dog. Now, I'm not saying the work is done at that stage, but you should be seeing some improvement. I'm also very honest and ethical about what I'm doing. I don't want to be sitting on your floor massaging your dog if it isn't getting the results. I want to see the results too. So I'll be very honest with you and tell you this isn't working. you need to find another resource. And so, you know, this week I've recommended Kimberly to a couple of people. Like, I think maybe it's more of an emotional issue than a physical issue. So you never know where it's going to go, but it's certainly, you know, I figure it's worth a try. And as far as cost goes, I'm so much less expensive than a vet. Basically, the treatment itself is $1 a minute. So a half an hour treatment is $30. Very inexpensive. Now, depending on where you live, there's travel time added on to that. So, but the treatment itself is $1 a minute. Most treatments last between 30 and 45 minutes, depending on the dog and its tolerance. The dog will also let me know when it's had enough.